Yes, I did. Not a problem. What's that? Oh, yeah, that's second meeting. Yeah.
How are you? I'm okay, thank you.
I gotta ask you about Hurley? Somebody's mentioned in
Okay.
donation, I think it is, and I didn't know the name. I was curious who it was. Brooklyn Heights resident, I figured you know. How are we doing on time? Don't watch the clock.
Probably just someone trying to sell Medicare insurance.
Oh, we only had 3 people.
So Joel, you're first.
Throw a text out there, just in case I miss
Deal with
something.
that clock.
Don't you remember, I told you I wasn't.
Are you really going to start with 12 and go down, or 9 and go
Don't
up,
look at
and
that
then
clock,
6
Jerry.
and go up, and then
I'm not looking at that.
12
Okay.
down?
Oh, I am, but I'm,
All right,
look
we're
at
going to
that
start with
one.
12 and go down.
I'm trying to watch this
That
one,
works.
and we're under a minute, so. It is time. Are we all ready?
Yep, 7 o'clock.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Cuyahoga Heights Board of Education meeting on November 20th, 2024. Will the treasurer please call the roll?
Mrs. Decker.
Here.
Mrs. Etter.
Here.
Ms. Kraus.
Here.
Mr. Dobbins.
Here.
Mr. Souchaki.
Here, 5 present, none absent. Got to get my mouse in spot here. There we go. On behalf of the board, I would like to welcome students, staff, parents, and interested community members to tonight's Board of Education meeting. The board values and encourages public comment on education issues. Anyone having an interest in the actions of the board may participate during the public comments portion of the meeting. And if you wish to do so, please identify yourself on the board sign-in sheet, which is in the back somewhere. A copy of the board meeting agenda is available for review on the school district website, and we ask that you silence your cell phones during the meeting. At this point, I would like everyone to rise for the pledge. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
At this point, I'll entertain a motion to approve tonight's agenda.
So moved?
Moved by Mr. Dobbins,
Second?
second by Ms. Decker. Any discussion? Additions? Hearing none, treasurer, please call the roll.
Mr. Dobbins.
Aye.
Mrs. Decker.
Aye.
Mrs. Etter.
Aye.
Ms. Kraus.
Aye.
Mr. Souchaki.
Aye, motion passes 5-0. At this point, I'll turn the meeting over to Superintendent Young for recognition of Students of the Month.
Thank you, Mr. Souchaki. So tonight, we are going to recognize our November Students of the Month. We'll be starting with the high school with Mr. Scott Dietrich, and then we'll move to our middle school with Mrs. Elena Scott, and finally, Mr. Joel Melvin will introduce our elementary students. Mr. Dietrich.
All right, good evening, everyone. We'll start with our 12th grade student of the month for the month of November is Darby Porter. Please come forward. Darby is here with his mother, Emily Porter. He has 4 siblings, and his family lives in Brooklyn Heights. His favorite course in school this year is law. Darby is a member of the school's soccer team, Model UN, and mock trial. He is a bit of an adventurer, as he described today that he enjoys spending time outside of school, rock climbing and snowboarding. His most memorable experience at Heights was getting to go out to the new school garden with C. Rob's environmental science class. He aspires to become either a defense attorney or a patent lawyer after college, and here is what his teacher had wrote. As teachers, we hope to see growth in our students. We want to see them grow in practical ways, such as their abilities to manage their emotions and responsibilities. We also hope to see them grow intellectually, such as in their ability to use logic and critical thinking to make new and unique connections and insights. A student who comes to mind as a perfect example of someone who has grown extensively in both of these ways over the course of his high school career is Darby Porter. Darby fields an incredible amount of family responsibilities at home, and he has been able to translate that to managing his own personal responsibilities at school. His teachers and coaches agree that his humility in the face of all that has been, that in all that he has been asked of him and all that he has achieved is admirable. His classmates unanimously report that he is patient, understanding, respectful, and knows how to compromise, and teaches them valuable understandings of class content through his contributions to discussions and group work. He is a leader by nature, a good friend, and a thoughtful and engaged student. His ability to motivate others with both his words and actions are unparalleled. Darby has truly earned the respect of his teachers, advisors, and coaches and peers, and we are lucky to have him as part of our CHHS community. Congratulations, Darby Porter. The next student of the month for the 11th grade, Damian Jones. Now, everyone calls Damian DJ, so if I refer to him as DJ, it's because that's what everybody calls him. He is the son of Sarah Hart, and he has a younger sibling at the elementary school and an older sister who also graduated from Heights. The family resides in Brooklyn Heights, and he has attended Heights since the 3rd grade. DJ's favorite subjects in school are math and science. He is in the Spanish club and a member of the school's cross-country, basketball, and indoor-outdoor track teams. His most memorable school event was when he earned a 4.4 GPA. He wants to have a career in real estate and possibly own rentals. His favorite part of Cuyahoga Heights schools has been the teachers. Here is what his nominating teacher wrote. DJ is a vibrant young man who can lighten up the mood anywhere he goes, whether it's in the classroom, at cross-country practice, or simply in between classes in the hallway. Mr. Jones has had to overcome a lot of adversity this school year and has found a way to channel it into high productivity in all of his classes, which are a mix of upper-level honors and AP classes, all with A's and only one B. That's incredible to see. Has been incredible to see DJ thrive so well and be a model for other students to follow. Caring, astute, and with an uncanny sense of humor, it is my honor to nominate DJ for Student of the Month. Congratulations, DJ Jones. The 10th grade Student of the Month is Tyler Raybant. Tyler wasn't certain if he could make it this evening, so I'm going to jump right to what the nominating teacher had written in his nomination. Tyler Raybant has consistently demonstrated dedication and enthusiasm in the classroom. Tyler actively participates in class discussions, always eager to contribute his ideas and insights. His engagement sets a positive example for his peers, fostering a productive learning environment. Tyler is known for his creative approach to learning. He often comes up with unique and memorable ways to grasp concepts, making difficult topics easier for himself and his peers to understand. His innovative thinking is an asset in the classroom. Congratulations, Tyler Raybant. And from the 9th grade, our Student of the Month, Sky Sutyak. Please come forward. You want me to start reading, Sky? And when I get to the end, then I'll give you your certificate, okay? So Sky is here tonight with her parents, Chris and Carrie. They are residents of Cleveland, and she has been a student at Heights since the 4th grade. She has 2 cats, Cameron and Gina, and she likes to take them for walks and play with them on the trampoline. Sky's favorite subject in school is art, and she says it's because she enjoys coloring and painting. She also enjoys singing and dancing, and when she isn't in school, she hangs out with her best friend Marissa at McDonald's or the playground. What you may not know about Sky is that she is the school's unofficial student greeter each morning with the admin team as we stand at the front door. She waits for her friend to arrive. Everyone in the school knows Sky. She said that her most memorable moment at Heights was last spring when she attended the art carnival. She stated that when she has also stated that when she is done with school, she would like to work at her favorite store, Target. Here is what her teacher wrote. I would like to nominate Sky Sutyek. She has grown so much during the first quarter and is becoming very independent. She works ahead without support and works very hard towards her goals each and every day. Her positive attitude and determination inspire her classmates to stay motivated. She consistently demonstrates respect, responsibility, and kindness, making her a role model for her peers. Congratulations, Sky Sutyek. And next, I would like to invite Miss Elena Scotton to the microphone to introduce the Students of the Month from the middle school.
Thank you, Mr. Dutray. Good evening, everybody. So I'm going to start with our 6th grade Student of the Month, Miss Cadence Johnson. Would you please come forward? Cadence lives in Cleveland with her parents, Katia and Darius, and her younger brother, who's in the 3rd grade here at CHES, Darius. They have a dog, Sapphire. She said that her favorite subjects are math and reading because they are easy. Outside of school, Cadence is very active. She plays basketball for Valley View. She plays tennis, volleyball. She enjoys playing board games, so I asked her what her favorite one is, and she said Clue. She likes video games, and she loves watching High School Musical, the show, not the actual movie. And she wants to meet Olivia Rodrigo when she is older. The most memorable experience that she had was last year at the elementary school when she received the Academic Achievement Award. And I said it's clear that her academic success has transferred over to the middle school as well, leading her to be Student of the Month. 10 years from now, Cadence would like to be a famous singer. And her favorite part of CHMS are the specials, art and PE. Now I'm going to read to you what your teacher said about you. I'm pleased to nominate Cadence Johnson. Cadence is helpful and kind when interacting with peers. She always participates in class, engaging with the content and materials. Cadence is an excellent student and role model for her peers. Congratulations, Cadence. Next, 7th grade Student of the Month is Blake Kirschner. Blake, can you please come forward? Blake lives in Cleveland with his parents, Laura and Mike, and 3 siblings, Jackson, Crew, and Lila, who are all students within the district. They have a German Shepherd and a snake. His favorite subject is science because he feels that that's his best subject, and he would like to be a marine biologist when he's older. He plays football and wrestling here at the middle school, and outside of school he plays baseball, so he's very into sports. 10 years from now, Blake sees himself going to college to become a marine biologist, and he said that his favorite part of CHMS is getting to interact with his peers and classmates and playing on the sports teams. So now let's hear what the 7th grade team said about you. Blake Kirschner is the 7th grade's nomination for Student of the Month. As a conscientious student, he consistently puts in hard work into every assignment. He is not only attentive to his studies, but considerate of others, often volunteering his time to help classmates who may be struggling. His generosity is seen in the way he shares his knowledge and encouragement, helping to create a positive environment in the classroom. Blake exemplifies generosity, kindness, and responsibility, making him a role model to his classmates. Congratulations, Blake. And last middle school is our 8th grade student of the month, Carter Nichols. Carter lives in Cuyahoga Heights with his parents, Stacy and Ryan, and 2 siblings, Lily and Owen, who are both students here in the district. They also have a dog named Cade. His favorite subject is history because he enjoys learning about America. In school, he plays on the middle school basketball team, and outside of school, he enjoys playing outside and playing video games. His most memorable experience was playing Quidditch outside in the 6th grade. 10 years from now, Carter sees himself working in a field that deals with journalism, and he said maybe sports too. His favorite part of the middle school is being with his friends. The 8th grade team said that Carter stands out for his remarkable blend of generosity and self-control, qualities that positively impact our school community every day. He makes a conscious effort to choose words and actions that support a peaceful, respectful environment, setting an example for his classmates. What truly distinguishes Carter is his generous spirit. He is always willing to lend a hand, share his resources, or offer encouraging words. He embodies the values of kindness and empathy. Carter, we are so proud of the positive impact you have made and know you'll continue to inspire those around you. Keep up the incredible work. Congratulations. And now I'm going to have Mr. Melvin come up to present the elementary school students of the month.
Okay, our first student of the month is 5th grader Denise Denny Morway. So Denny lives in Seven Hills with her mom, her dad, her 2 sisters, Audrey and Madeline. She doesn't have any pets. Her favorite subject is math because she is good at it and is good at multiplication and division. Her favorite essential is her mom because she always makes sure that she is always packed up and ready to go, and she takes care of me. Outside of school, Denny likes to play soccer for Brooklyn Heights Rec and playing with her sisters. When she grows up, Denny wants to be a chef. The message to her parents is that she would just like to say thank you, and you do so much for me. And Denny's teachers wrote, Denny tackles new challenges seriously, eagerly, and with a positive attitude. Denny shows perseverance in all that she does. She has a kind, caring, and friendly attitude that makes her a friend to all. Denny consistently makes good choices in all parts of the school day. It has been a pleasure having the opportunity to get to know and work with such a fantastic person, classmate, and student. Way to represent being CHES Denny. There. And our final student of the month is also 5th grader Oliver Skladany Childers. My apologies. Oh, hold on. I'll keep going. Okay, Oliver lives in Maple Heights with his mom and his dog, Hank. His favorite subjects are phys ed because he likes moving around, tech because he likes making robots, art, he likes working with clay, and he just joined the band, and it's really awesome. Outside of school, Oliver likes to play video games such as Fortnite, Donut Country, Minecraft, and he enjoys playing outside with his friends. When he grows up, he wants to become an architect and build skyscrapers. His message to his mom is that he loves you, and you were really And he is really happy that you are here and get to experience this with him. Oliver's teachers wrote, "Oliver is an extremely caring person. He is always willing to help anyone with anything. Oliver works very hard on his schoolwork and is an enthusiastic learner. He has the ability to brighten up any classroom that he enters. He is polite to adults and peers in and out of the classroom. Oliver consistently makes good choices in all parts of the school day. We can always count on Oliver to be caring, honest, engaged, and safe." Congratulations.
All right, hold tight. We've got two more recognitions. So next, I want AJ Fermanti to come forward. I'll have you hold this towards everybody. Hold it up so they can see it. So every year we have an annual holiday card contest, and we get several submissions, and our staff then votes on which one they feel best represents student body in the school district for our holiday card. AJ's a super talented individual. Does more than just art on paper, but does art, choreography, and dancing. Is that correct? You dance for the Cavs. Have you been at the halftime yet? You will be someday, I guarantee it. Yeah, he's super talented. AJ's a 7th grader. His artwork was selected to be featured as the 2024 Cuyahoga Heights Holiday Card. He is being presented. Open that up. Go ahead and open it up. Just so you can see it. $100 gift card to Amazon for his winning card. So congratulations, AJ. Well earned, well deserved.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Beautiful. All right, next we have our staff spotlight. I'd like to make a motion to accept the staff spotlight for the month of November, Mr. Suchaki.
Yes, I'll entertain a motion for the staff spotlight.
So moved?
Oh, okay, that was quick. And a second?
Second.
And a second.
All right, Mr. Brick, please come forward. Were you a student of the month at one time in your life?
At some point, yeah.
Probably at some point.
Maybe not, though.
Yeah. All right, let's read the official business. Mr. Brick is a fantastic teacher. He was a student here. Were you a tuition student?
I was at one point.
Was at one point a tuition student, moved into the district. You were a multi-sport athlete, multi-varsity letter winner, great academic, went on to college, had a few stints elsewhere, and we got him back here in the year 2000, and he's done nothing but shine. So this is an amazing and a well-deserved resolution. Whereas Nate Brick has shown extraordinary dedication to the students and staff of Cuyahoga Heights Schools, going above and beyond in his commitment to excellence in education. Whereas Mr. Brick continually engages his students in lessons with enthusiasm and creativity, exemplified by his captivating work on the Egyptian unit, which fosters curiosity and excitement for learning among his students. Whereas Mr. Brick serves as an exceptional colleague, supporting and inspiring those fortunate enough to work alongside him, bringing an unparalleled level of energy and positivity to every project he undertakes. Whereas Mr. Brick's willingness to provide assistance to any student in need, whether in academics or athletics, demonstrates his deep commitment to student success and personal growth. Therefore, be it resolved that the Cuyahoga Heights Schools community recognizes and celebrates Mr. Nate Brick for his outstanding contributions, his dedication to student engagement, and his inspiring impact on both students and colleagues. Be it further resolved that Mr. Brick's exceptional work and commitment serve as an example of excellence and dedication to all members of the Cuyahoga Heights Schools community, and therefore he is to be congratulated on his November 20th, 2024 selection to the Cuyahoga Heights Schools Staff Spotlight.
Speech.
Little medal. Congratulations. Speech?
Am I supposed to?
No.
We have to vote on
All right.
it, Tony?
Yep, you need to vote on that real quickly.
Okay, treasurer, please call the roll.
Mrs. Etter.
Aye.
Ms. Prowse.
Aye.
Mrs. Decker.
Aye.
Mr. Dobbins.
Aye.
Mr. Souchaki.
Aye, motion passes 5-0.
All right, we're going to take a brief recess to get photos in front of the backdrop here, photos with the Board of Education. Students, it's supposed to snow over the next couple of days, but you're not going to get a snow day out of me. Maybe you could talk your parents into letting you sleep in a couple hours. Anyways, we're going to take a 5-minute recess.
everyone. We're reconvening from our break. The next section is comments from the public, and no one has signed up, so moving on to Section 6, Treasurer's Business.
Thank you, Mr. President. Number of items for approval tonight. I ask for approval for items 6A, 7A through 7I tonight.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion for all those items for the treasurer.
So moved.
Moved by Ms. Decker,
Second.
second by Mr. Dobbins. Mr., would you like to go through?
Yeah, I just wanted to point out a couple items in here. 7A is going to be our normal bank reconciliation, financial reports, and payments for board review. We're on track for fiscal year, so nothing out of the ordinary. 7B, new vendors. If we open that lead sheet, T3, we just have 4 new vendors we're adding. The first one is Corebridge Financial. So it's just a name change from Valig, which is one of our annuity companies, to Corebridge Financial. And we use them for retirement, so employees can take part of their paycheck and put it in their retirement. We send it to Valig, which is now Corebridge, or severance payments. So if anybody retires, those payments are sent over to that company as well. The second one we have is Global Payments, doing business as Active Network. That's for swim roster and scoring programs, approximately $700 from the athletic fund. Number 3 is Integra Realty Resources, Cleveland, doing business as IRR Cleveland. That's for tax appraisal services for our legal counsel. So Mr. David Seed, who came at a previous board meeting, the other one we had about 2 weeks ago, he engages with appraisers from time to time. So we see that that amounts approximately $4,500 for the year. And then the fourth one is World Fuel Services. That would be for our fuel, diesel, and gas, and that's through Ohio Schools Council, best pricing preferred vendor, approximately $80,000 for the entire year for all of our vehicles. Closing out of here. And then purchase orders over 5,000, we just have 2 tonight. I'll start with the second one, the Bureau of Workers' Compensation. That's for our installment. So the Bureau of Workers' Compensation computes that and sends us the bill. We usually get it before Thanksgiving, so it's coming within the next couple days, but I throw it on here for an estimated amount of $60,000, but it'll come in less than that. And we pay that according to what the Bureau of Workers' Compensation bills our district. And the second one is for Neptune Plumbing. So what I wanted to do for this one, pass out an email here. 1, 2.
It's just one page.
It's one page, yeah.
6, and the seventh one.
No, it's one page. So you pass it.
Just one page. So this is from a year ago. So this deals with the water leak investigation. So at the time when we engaged with this company, a purchase order wasn't completed. And somehow this company never reached out within a year to us to pay them for their services. But the amount of their services for what they did was $5,243.38. And then this is kind of the results of what they had found. Just kind of jogging our memory. I think Tom may have updated us, but this is pretty good too. So, Matt, do you want to kind of summarize this, or do you want me to?
Well, essentially, we were trying to find the source of the running water problem, and this was one of the attempts to figure out what that was. And if you read through the work that they did tests for example, for chlorine, and that test would have determined if there was the presence of city water, and none was found. They spoke with a lot of personnel. They looked at some maps, and they determined, as we all have been able to find, is that this water problem has been going on for decades. And they suspect maybe an artisan well, but they would need a geologist to come in here and actually determine that. And I think even Mr. Zerbola had found an article with a photo from the 1960s that had a photo and then mentioned the water problem over here on the hill that Jack continues to fight. And the suspicion of maybe some type of underground spring. So, who knows? But we never were able to figure out the source of the water that continues to run through that drain back there.
That was that item. So those 2. on to 7D would be our recommended 5-year forecast that we went through at the last board meeting. Nothing's changed, so this is the same forecast. We didn't have any questions. I always like to bring my prop just to kind of say that, nobody can predict the future, so this is to the best of our knowledge, what the numbers are, but, it's going to change from, this point till the next time we do the 5-year forecast, and then going forward from there. Donations received for 7E, we have 3 there, and we have our thank you letters as well. First one is for Valley Ford Truck and the O'Donnell family. That's $500 for the football rivalry between Cuyahoga Heights and Independence. We thank them for that donation. The second one is Columbia National Group. That's $100 for the Employee Recognition Fund. We thank them for that donation. And the third one is the CHS Alumni Association, $477 for the Doug Corlett Scholarship. We thank them for that donation. 7F. This is a motion to recognize the generosity of Mr. James Hurl and of offering scholarships to deserving students in the district and to accept additional funds for this Hurl Family Endowed Memorial Scholarship. So Mr. Hurl passed away, and in his trust, he had donated funds to numerous organizations, the zoo, the Metro Parks, I believe, as well as us, Cuyahoga Heights Schools. And Mr. Hurl, the trust, had donated $18,000 back on March 22nd, 2023. That was the first donation. We passed that along, honoring Mr. Hurl's wishes to have the Cuyahoga Heights High School Alumni Association supervise and monitor that scholarship fund. Now, they do in conjunction with the Cleveland Foundation. So we send it to the Cleveland Foundation, and they work together, the Alumni Association. It's La Puma, Dominic, as well as Mark Chase, are the ones that supervise this on behalf of the Alumni Association. So the first donation was $18,000 that we accepted back in 2023. The second donation was $16,027.80, accepted January 24th of this year, 2024. And this is the third donation, the last one, for $12,095.67, for a total of $46,123.47. So we thank, again, the generosity of Mr. Hurl for providing this for deserving students. 7G is a modification to the permanent appropriations, and we would just have 3 modifications. The first one would be an increase of $100,000 to match our November 2024 5-year forecast. The second modification would be an increase of $30,000 to fund 019, which is due to the CTE partnership grant with the Cuyahoga Valley Career Center that we approved at the other board meeting. The third item would be an increase of $12,000 to the 022 District Agency Fund, and that's going to be for us sending out that donation that we deposited in our bank account, cutting that check straight to the Cleveland Foundation for $12,000 approximate dollars that we have. 7H would be student activity programs completed by the students and signed off and reviewed by the advisors for each of those groups. And then I would just be the then and now certificate for Neptune Plumbing. And those are the items I have for approval tonight.
Any questions for the treasurer?
I don't necessarily have a question for Mr. Muccio, but I did want to take a moment just to expand just a minute on the invoice from the Neptune Plumbing. Firstly, I very much appreciate Mr. Warner's submission of a summary of the work that they performed. It's very detailed, and it indicates that he looked at the sewer and couldn't find a problem, and then he also went to the effort of trying to trace out the water line that runs from the street back to the football field and investigated whether that line was leaking and whether didn't find any leaks, and then he also tested to see whether there were any traces of chlorine, which would indicate the presence of city water, and found none to be present. So I just appreciate having that level of detail that adds to the conversation about site improvements that we're contemplating, and would ask that we all take that into consideration as the projects move forward. Thank you. To Mr. Warner and to others for getting this level of detail. I think it's really helpful, certainly for me.
Anything else? No? You okay? You're thinking?
I'm just reading it. I was just reading this one statement on the invoice, camera inspection, a 6-inch line. Couldn't get the camera to go up the 4-inch line that connects. Just couldn't find the source of the water. I'm just, couldn't tell if these lines were connected. It looks like it says here, camera inspection of a 6-inch line, the manhole found water to be coming in from a 4-inch connecting line, could not get the camera to go up the line. Camera inspected the 4-inch drains in the area of the stairwell and the roof next to the stairs. I was just wondering if water's coming in the 4-inch line, they couldn't get the camera up there, so how's the water getting in the 4-inch line that's feeding into the 6-inch line? I don't know, it's different than the email. I'm looking at the actual invoice.
Yeah, I see.
I was just wondering if they actually got the camera up there and if we actually know, but I guess if we feel confident that the water is not city water, there's some, I just want to make sure there's no sinkhole or something under somewhere else up the drain that we're not catching, that we make sure that we don't have other water
I think it's a fair
problems.
question. We could certainly reach back out to this group to question them on this and ask what their suggestions are for next steps, because if they couldn't do it, then where are we supposed to go?
I know we're a year
Next.
out from this, because this is last
Yeah, a
fall.
whole year ago,
It
yeah.
was a whole year ago, but just that sentence there, could not get the camera up the line. I just wondering what's feeding from that 4-inch line into that 6-inch line.
We'll make sure that we contact these people to get at least their recommendations for next steps, and if they don't have any, then the water issue is, Mr. Dobbins has brought this up several times, the water issue it's still not gone away, and will continue to potentially cause, like you're saying, unknown things that, a magnitude we can't even guess on.
I know.
I still come up East 71st Street and I see the roads separating, no matter how often they repair it and how much concrete they put down, cracks open back up. So I don't know if it's related or not, so we're all on the same hill.
Right.
And I'm sorry, is there a reason why they didn't invoice us like, right away, a year later? Just,
I was shocked.
yeah.
I'm still shocked.
Yeah, usually we follow a process. We get a quote for what the work is going to be. We look at what that cost is. If it's going to be over $5,000, that requires board approval. We do over $3,000, we do quote sheets. We have a very tight process. So they billed us the other day, and all we can do is respond to that, and that's what Mr. Muccio has done.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's kind of shocking that, they were engaged a year ago to, come out and perform the work. Like Mr. Young was saying, we have a process to, do recs and whatnot, and it wasn't done at that point in time. But surprisingly, that the company didn't reach out, to anybody, that we know of, within, over a year's time. They wouldn't, if it was me, I'd probably call or, at worst, hop in the car and just drive to the school and knock on and say, hey, we have this,
Send
outstanding
the bill through the mail. Yeah.
after a couple months, so, yeah, but, we're addressing it now, as best we can, and, I like, the plan of, circling back to them and taking a look at their work and seeing, if there's anything else that can be looked at. It's kind of surprising if you look here at the last paragraph or whatnot in their email, the only possibility that we can derive at would be something like an artisan well on site. So that is a well that just springs up from the ground and just produces water, so that we could have many of those. I mean, that might be, yeah, it's,
Yeah, but to Ms. Decca's point, that's kind of inconsistent with the fact that they never finished that, going through all the lines. They can see the water coming in from the 4-inch line, but they have no idea what that line goes.
yeah.
And that bothers me. It's like, I'm almost tempted to say, figure that out, and then we'll pay the bill. I mean, that's, I don't know if that's appropriate or not, but that's, something that I think we ought to consider.
Do we get our $5,000 worth
Yeah,
of work done in this case?
Yeah.
If they couldn't perform the one
yeah.
task?
Yeah, the fact that the camera doesn't go up the 4-inch line, and that's where the water's coming from, that concerns me, that they really didn't finish the job. Now, I'm not gonna say don't pay the bill, but I think we ought to,
Well, the difficult thing is we don't know what the terms of the, of the service we requested of them was,
Yeah.
because we don't have a quote for their service.
I mean, I'm not, like I said,
Because, yeah, I mean, it's a fair point, but I could see them arguing, we did everything we were supposed to do. We never guaranteed anything. Can you show us in writing? No. I don't know. I acquiesce to Mr. Muccio on items like this.
I guess we'll pay the bill, but my concern is the problem may still be there, and we haven't figured it out yet. So, but, I mean, there's an indication that this water's been going through there for a very long time. I mean, people have been noticing it for years. Is that,
I don't know if that's true in the back. Water has been an issue on the,
in general, yeah.
yeah. I noticed it a couple years ago when Mr. Evans got hurt, and so I started to do some facility tours, and that's when we noticed there was a lot of water running back there. And we thought maybe that was a result of, I think there was a leak in the pool at the time that had to get repaired. We were losing like 5 inches of water a night. Turned out that they were not related.
Not related, yeah.
So
And-
it's been at least 2 years, 3 school years now that we've noticed something back there, and it's still running.
It's rushing, yeah, 24 hours a day.
Yeah, it's running all the time.
Yeah, and clearly, the issues on 71st are not going away. I mean, I think there are articles from the 50s that show that we're having problems with the hill on 71st.
And I don't think we've had any major change in our utility bill, though.
Not that I'm.
So it's not like we have a high water bill.
Yeah, right, it's not going through our meter. That doesn't mean that it's not coming from us, it's just not going through our meter.
Right.
Or it could be this well, it could be
So-
a spring, a
Yeah,
well,
it could be something else.
natural
I
well
don't
or
know.
something like that.
No idea.
Mr.
Needs-
Young, my understanding is that you and your team periodically meet with GPD, our architects and
Every
engineering
Friday.
firm. Yes. So my question is whether they've yet seen this invoice and the level of detail that Mr. Warner describes in his email and the invoice, and I'd be curious to know what their professional view is on what he did and didn't do, as well as, the merit of us as a district moving forward and pressing Mr. Warner or some other company to perhaps go the extra mile figuratively and try and examine this 4-inch line that they couldn't.
Yeah,
Deal.
we do plan to continue to ask about, or to start the conversation about just the water in general.
Okay, great,
Good.
thank you. Please keep us informed as
Yep.
to what GPD says in their professional opinions. Thank you.
Well, thank you for bringing that up. Anything else? Hearing none, treasurer, please call the roll.
Mrs. Deca,
Aye.
Ms. Browse, or excuse me, Mr. Dominus, sorry.
Aye.
Mrs. Etter,
Aye.
Ms. Browse.
Aye.
Mr. Souchaki.
Aye, motion passes 5-0. Let's see, any other discussions from the treasurer?
Yep, just 2 items tonight. First one is just circling back to that resolution for insurance in lieu of bond. So I talked about this a while back, and then took some time, surgery was out. But circling back on this right now, just wanted to discuss it, put it forward as a voting item, in a future board meeting. But in short, just to summarize, this was recommended by Ryan Pendleton, who works at the ESC Northeast Ohio, doing a lot of interim treasure work for school districts, as well as multiple other projects through them. And he recommended that, since there was a law change, I want to say 5 years ago approximately, where this, insurance in lieu of a bond existed, he recommended to all the treasurers that do go to the meetings at the ESC of Northeast Ohio to have this in place going forward, again, since it was a change in law. And this would just be conforming to our board policy, which is 1310, to elect to have insurance in lieu of a bond. And this is really for just mistakes that take place. So if a mistake were to happen, there's a possibility that the Otter State can say, hey, we're going to issue a finding for recovery against the treasurer. Treasurer, you have to pay this out of your pocket. Essentially, that would go to the bond company. The bond company would say, hey, we'll pay it, but you have to pay us, whatever that mistake is. What this means right now, going to insurance in lieu of a bond, is if a mistake were to happen, the insurance company would pick it up, and it just rolls into the premium that's paid. So a lot of school district treasurers are going this way, again, since there was a change in law. And our insurance policy actually does have language in it, it has been from SORSA, to have that take place. So this would just be more or less solidifying what we have in place with our policy, as well as from our insurance company, the language that we have in our policy. So I just wanted to talk about it and have it on as a discussion item, if everybody has the opportunity to go through and look at it. And I think it's a good idea to have in place too, especially since, listening to Ryan Pendleton really reinforce and say, hey, this is a recommendation he's really pushing for all treasurers, to do this.
So what's the financial difference between the bond and the insurance coverage?
Not much. I mean, the bond is a couple $100 per year,
Okay.
the issuance of it. So we get that, that amount back. So it's, pennies in our budget. And our insurance policy just has that language rolled into it. So there is no cost.
Oh, it's already there, so.
It's already there. It exists.
Is the coverage the same?
Yes.
The amount is the same?
Yeah, it's higher. It's a lot higher. So if
The
any
insurance
mistake
or the bond?
The insurance.
Oh,
Yeah, so it's a lot higher.
sounds like a no-brainer then. It saves us money and we get better coverage.
Yeah, and
That's
it,
what I just heard you say.
right, it more or less protects the treasurer. It's more, if there is a finding for recovery, it's not for a mistake. It gives some peace of mind for a treasurer, any treasurer working in any school district, that it's not going to be, hey, you treasurer pay this for that finding for recovery. We try to eliminate mistakes as much as we possibly can. Everybody's human. It does happen. So, that's just kind of really what this policy touches base on. And again, it conforms with law that was passed a couple of years ago from what we have in place, as well as our Neola policy that we have that speaks on it. But just wanted to have it as a discussion item for a future board meeting that we have in place.
So we have to take some formal action to make this happen.
We would, just to kind of memorialize it, that we would have. And then the second item I have for tonight is good news. We've completed our GAP financial audit with the Auditor of State's Office. So they're in process of filing our financial statements with the Auditor of State's Office. So we contract with the Auditor of State's Office to complete our GAP audit, and then they file it with themselves, the Auditor of State's Office. And it has to be done within 150 days after the close of the fiscal year. We do this every year. So that's right before Thanksgiving, so we're right on target to have that done. Actually, today, it was the final review, and they passed it to me just to glance it over, and they're going to be filing that soon. So
Okay.
good news. We always hit the mark. And that's all I have for tonight.
Okay, thank you very much. Moving on then to section 10, superintendent's business.
All right, thank you. I've got just 5 items for consideration. 10A under general, this is the approval of the 2025-26 Cog Heights Schools District calendar. 11A, we have approval of the updated supplemental positions per the chat contract for 2024-25. 12A, under employment substitutes and volunteers, we have the approval of the updated substitute teacher list for 2024-25. Letter B, we have the approval of a long-term substitute teacher for our art program at the elementary school. And that's it, 5 items. 1, 2, 3, 4 items, sorry. It's even less than I thought.
Good.
Ask these items to be considered for approval.
Okay, entertain a motion for the superintendent's items, please. Okay, Ms. Proust, and I'll second, that's all right. So, discussion.
So the first is the district calendar that was posted for public review on 10/23/2024 as a first draft, second draft, 11/6/2024, and now we've got the recommendation for a final adoption on 11/20/24. You've got 4 calendars. You're looking at the one that says 2025-26 calendar with the 3 dates along the top. The second item,
Oh, excuse me.
yes,
I believe I'm on vacation in the first.
We're looking at this one right now.
yeah. Yeah, the other 2 calendars are down under board business where we look at the,
Oh, I'm sorry, okay.
yeah, no,
sorry.
it's okay. A lot of calendars to consider tonight. So that's the first one. This 12A, this is the employment of substitute teacher list. We have 3 new additions to the list. If you look, we have one who denotes that it's a non-bachelor degree substitute, and then we have 2 highlighted who are new additions for the month that do have bachelor's degrees, one of them being Mr. Kiefer. You might remember Mr. Kiefer as our elementary principal last year and a half. And then approved long-term substitute teacher. So we had a very difficult time finding a substitute teacher long-term for Mrs. Orlando. Mrs. Orlando had a baby just over a week ago, a healthy baby. Came a little early, but that's okay. We were quick on our feet. And Mrs. George is a teacher assistant for us over at the elementary school. She has a music degree. It's artistic. But for being a long-term sub, you just have to have a substitute license. So we felt that, A, she was willing to do this. B, we've got somebody internally who already knows, that we know and our kids know. All right, so we have a relationship there. And we've done this in the past. We've done this a couple times with, we did it with Mrs. Akerley. Mrs. Runger now is Miss Akerley at the time. We did this with Ms. Gambetta at one point. So who's no longer with us. So this is something that we've done in the past. So what we'll do, what I'm recommending is effective 2 days ago, that we move her to step 1 on the chat contract for the period of time until Mrs. Orlando comes back, which is anticipated to be around the beginning of April. When she returns, then Mrs. George will slide right back into her teacher assistant role. The role of a teacher is more demanding than the role of a teacher assistant, justifying the increase in wages here. She has 6 different preps, 6 different grade levels, and you're planning for all of that. So that's the recommendation for that one and a justification. So we will be posting for a long-term sub for the teacher assistant position as well, because our teacher assistants actually provide a lot of support to our teaching staff through the intervention time. So we're going to be posting for that. So look for that to come to you in December at that board meeting. And then, did I miss anything? Oh, I missed the supplemental contracts above. So the supplemental contracts, these are, we got two assistant basketball coaches splitting a contract. You've got a volunteer assistant wrestling coach, and you've got a head softball coach and 3 assistant softball coaches. We've already started the conditioning already. If you can believe it, we're conditioning for winter or for spring sports, and we still haven't finished fall sports, which is a good problem to have. And then you've got 2 people splitting indoor track, 2 alumni, and two former teachers, Mr. Amari, and I can't believe Mr. Atwell is still at it, but he is just as sharp as ever. So I think we may even feature Mr. Atwell as one of our stories in a newsletter coming up, because not many people have quite the storied history that somebody like Mr. Atwell has. So those are the items for consideration.
Okay. Any questions or further discussion? Hearing none, treasurer, please call the roll.
Ms. Prowse.
Aye.
Mr. Suchaki.
Aye.
Mrs. Stecco.
Aye.
Mrs. Etter.
Aye.
Mr. Dobbins.
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0. Superintendent's discussion and
All right.
comment.
Yeah, a few things. So first, I want to continue to congratulate the football program. They're now in the regional championships. We were 2-4 at one point, and we are now in the regional championships. And I think it's a testament to our coaches and our players, and then the families that are supporting them. And I know how much the band is enjoying continuing on. I'm very appreciative of their sacrifice as well as their advisors and our cheerleaders, our Red Rubies. And we've traveled well. It's great to see. We traveled. I can travel to Columbus and Ohio State University faster from my house than I can get to Grand Valley, which is where we were last week. And our side of the stands were full. It was amazing. So appreciate the support. And the weather's going to be pretty miserable this Friday night, which I think is more of an advantage for us than it is for the other teams. So best of luck to them. The BEST committee met last week. We continued to discuss general facilities. The next thing that we're going to be looking at is a decision matrix to look at what our various projects are through the lens of how would you fund them. All right, so that's the next thing we're going to do, as well as start to have the conversation about the what's the best way to tackle the natatorium. All right, so we're going to be looking at that with the ultimate goal of myself presenting in May, because that committee is advising or providing recommendations and helping me sift through all the database decisions. And so I'll give a final presentation at the end of the year once we get to that point. So it's been very rewarding. Something that happened back at the beginning of the year, actually officially happened in September, that I had sent this to Mr. Kosovich to say, hey, do you have anybody who this might work for or qualify for? And he ran with it. And I just found out, myself, even though this has been about a month and a half ago, the Attorney General's office, Ohio Attorney General, has a teen ambassador board. And it's a call for rising juniors and seniors to apply to serve on his teen ambassador board. It's a prestigious opportunity for them to learn how government works. They actually go to Columbus and participate in some advisory type of meetings, and it's a one-year term. They advise the attorney generals on issues facing their peers and collaborate with creative solutions. We have two individuals who were selected. They applied and were selected. Arushi Shendi and Ava Kometz. There are only 12 out of Cuyahoga County, and we got 2. And there are 168 total from around the state, and we have 2 of 168. So I think it's really impressive to be able to have students who are interested in government and then be able to actually practice it while they're still in school.
That would be a nice item to put in your
Oh, it will be.
thing this
Yep,
week.
yep. Well, it's not going to be this week. It's going to be in the bigger newsletter.
Yeah.
The one that goes out. I think that's something we're going to run it as a bigger story. We've got 2 literacy projects that we're working on right now. So the governor has a Science of Reading Recognition program. It's open to pre-K through 12 schools, including public schools, community schools, charter schools. The application deadline is the 29th, and we are looking to apply on behalf of our elementary school that we feel has met the criteria. It's been a lot of work, and I appreciate Kelly Cummins helping me getting this thing together. But we feel like our elementary school is in a position where maybe we could receive some type of recognition. I think it's just a handshake or a banner you can hang up, but I'll take it because we've done tremendous work over there. Well, so the money part is this. So there's also a comprehensive literacy state development grant. They're going to open that application here within the next couple of weeks, and they may only give us about a week or 2 to apply. It's a pretty intense grant. I mean, you actually have to do research and site research and follow Ohio's Plan to Raise Literacy Achievement, and you have to look at the application they made to the federal government and align to that, and then you have to have sub-goals across your school district. You got to have specific grade bands. It's a majorly intense. Like there was a team yesterday. I went to a presentation on how to apply for the grant. 6 hours on how to apply for this grant, and one school alone had 5 individuals. And there I was with Kelly. We're like, oh my gosh, like this is a major undertaking. I don't know how we're going to get it done, but the total award is $60 million has been given to the state of Ohio. And so I know how much Mr. Muccio loves grants because he usually has to reconcile it on the back end. I don't know how much it's going to be worth. I don't know even if we were going to qualify, but we're going to apply. So those are 2 literacy initiatives we have going on. Lame duck session and election implications. Everybody's probably following that. I just got an email a little bit ago. We do have a new Speaker of the House in Ohio, and it's Matt Huffman, who termed out in the Senate was elected to the House of Representatives and now has a straw poll vote, will be the next Speaker of the House. His committee is made up of everybody from his party, and his House whips are also everybody from his same party, so you have a complete partisan effort there taking place. Whatever that's going to mean, we're going to roll with the I always say you roll with the punches, but you have to remember you're still getting punched. So, but yeah, we're good. I'm confident that Cuyahoga Heights Schools is going to continue to ride whatever comes our way. And, fall break is next week. So to people of elementary parents who have no babysitters, we apologize. You have a whole week with your children, take that opportunity. I actually miss those days when my kids thought I was a superhero and I could have them home for a week and I would figure out a way to make it happen. And you do really great things during that fall break. But we have 2 staff professional development days next week. We have a staff dinner on Tuesday, of which everybody here is invited to it. It's a great way for us to come together as a group and be thankful for each other. And speaking of that, next week's Thanksgiving. So to the 5 people out there listening, happy Thanksgiving to you and to everybody here. Seriously, we have so much to be thankful for in this school district, and I want to wish everybody a happy, safe fall break and Thanksgiving. So that's it. That's it for that part.
Well, thank you very much.
This is for
But,
board policy.
Our next section is Section 15, Board Policy Review and Adoption. And these are this first part of it is the ones that we went through last week, first reading, so now we're on second reading, right?
Yeah, so if you recall, there were 44 policies that got dumped on us back in October, so we're really doing double duty. So this batch here, it's your second reading. This you need to make a motion
Right.
to adopt these. And then there's going to be a second section where it's a
First reading.
serves as a first reading or an additional reading for one of our policies.
So I'll accept a motion to adopt policies that are numbered 15A through 15,
It's 15B through 15Y. The first
15Y.
one is just, it's an
Oh, I'm
overview
sorry,
of what the policies
15B.
mean.
Right.
In addition, I think you may want to look at 16A and B because all of these are voting matters for the board. 15 and 16 are voting matters.
Oh,
So if you want to vote them all as a potential consent or 2 separate items, you could do. Maybe 2 separate.
yeah, let's keep them separate. All right, separate discussion. So let's start with a motion to approve the policies that are up for the second reading, 15B through 15Z, right?
Why?
Okay. Entertain a motion for that item?
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Dobbins. Is that, second by Ms. Prowse. Any discussion on any of these items that we went through last?
The only thing is one of the policies that was part of the first reading last time, I got clarification by legal counsel on that one. I've pulled that down to have an additional reading because we made an altercation to it. So I wanted to make sure it had its time to be reviewed for the proper period of time.
Appreciate that, thank you. Okay. Any other discussion on these items? Hearing none, Treasurer, please call the roll.
Mr. Dobbins.
Aye.
Ms. Prowse.
Aye.
Mrs. Decker.
Aye.
Mrs. Etter.
Aye.
Mr. Souchaki.
Aye, motion passes 5-0, so those policies have been adopted. Now, moving into the next section, Section 16, we have 2 items. We need to appoint or elect a president pro tem to preside over the 2025 organizational meeting, and we need to approve attendance at Ashland Leaders for our superintendent and treasurer, the Ashland Leadership Academy seminars.
Can we do those separately?
We
They
can.
seem so distinct.
They are very distinct.
Yeah,
yes.
so let's do those separately, if you
Okay.
don't mind.
Let's
The
start with
rest of them-
16A. We need a president pro tem to preside over the 2025 organizational meeting. Anyone want to nominate someone?
Well, Mr. Souchaki, I believe in the past, the practice has been to nominate the current board president
Right.
to serve. If you'd be
Yes.
willing to serve as pro tem, I'd be happy to nominate you.
That's fine. I'll accept that.
Okay, great.
Do we have a second?
That would be my nomination then.
I'll second.
Seconded. I don't think there's any reason for any discussion. That is pretty traditional and same way we do it at the Career Center, so. Hearing no further discussion, Treasurer, please call the roll.
Mr. Dobbins.
Aye.
Mrs. Decker.
Aye.
Mrs. Etter.
Aye.
Ms. Prowse. Mr. Souchaki.
Aye, motion passes 5-0. And now we have a motion to approve attendance at the Ashland Leadership Academy Seminar for our treasurer, Mr. Muccio, and our superintendent, Matt Young. That academy is in 2025, January, February, and March, an in-person workshop. It's $900 per person, and then there's hotel and travel reimbursement as well. So I'll entertain a motion for that item.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Dobbins. Second by Ms. Proust. Any discussion on that item?
So these are on Friday evenings and Saturdays, so they don't interfere with the workday. I do not require a hotel because it's 20 minutes, 25 minutes from my house. It's in Cuyahoga Falls, much farther from Mr. Muccio. But usually travel reimbursement.
Our legal counsel.
Yeah, this is, our legal counsel has been had really started this, and it says, I think they're 20 years in, 21 years in, and we go down, and it's a nice way to network, but we also represent Ashland University and our law firm too when we're there, so.
And this would be which year, the second or third year for you and Mr. Muccio?
This will be our third year.
Your third year
Third
participating?
year.
Okay.
And I know Mr. Burek has attended in the past, and Dr. Claris has gone when he was here as assistant superintendent, so.
Okay. Any other discussion? Hearing none, treasurer, please call the roll.
Mr. Dobbins.
Aye.
Ms. Prowse. Mrs. Decker.
Aye.
Mrs. Etter.
Aye.
Mr. Souchaki.
Aye, motion passes 5-0. So we've taken care of the board items, so we can skip 17 and going on to 18, board policy and bylaws reviews. We come to Mr. Young.
Okay, I'll try to be quick, as quick as I can, but thorough. 18A, so this is one that was a first reading last time. It's the first reading now after the revision is made. And what we did is we made the revision to letter F. I had a conversation with Mr. Britton and Mr. McBride about consent agendas and whether we were doing them properly and how we should maybe note letter F. And he gave us the verbiage to put in there. And he felt that the way we've been doing things is appropriate. You can continue to do the consent agenda. This essentially can cover everything. He says what we have to ask ourselves is, should something be part of a consent agenda, or should we pull something off separately? And that's where, the dialogue that Mr. Muccio and I have before we do an agenda review. That's where we have dialogue during an agenda review. Something like a negotiated contract, for our associations should not necessarily, he's saying that should not be part of a consent agenda. You can do it, but it's something that requires to be its own voting item, separate from everything else. So from time to time, when you're looking at big contracts, you're looking at, if you're going to contract somebody for your fire system, and it's going to cost you $1 million, well, maybe that shouldn't be part of a consent agenda. Maybe you should take the time and actually vote on that individually and have proper discussion on that one item. So that was his recommendation. I changed the verbiage for letter F, and that's why it's the first reading after that revision has been made. Okay? Going to cellular telephone allowance. All right, this is a revision. There were two versions, and we chose the version that seemed more appropriate for us. This allows us to properly do a telephone reimbursement or a telephone allowance for cellular use. It doesn't mean that you have to, but if you do it, it's in place. We have currently done this with some of our administrative team members. The policy has been updated to reflect some of the definition changes, specifically to personal communication devices that was in the bylaw definition, policy 0100. It discusses eligibility, so who qualifies for a reimbursement, if you should give it, how do you determine what the amount is, what are your responsibilities for using your device, safe use, potential disciplinary action for misusing your device, et cetera. And maybe this is something that, if we will discuss, maybe this needs to be part of the administrative and exempt employees benefit package as well, if you're going to provide it as a benefit, or should we provide it as a benefit? So that's something that we need to discuss moving forward, and should we continue to do it, this policy allows us to do that. The next two policies, 7530.02 is the staff use of personal communication, oh, I'm sorry, it's not the next two. This is the staff use of personal communication devices only. So this policy has been updated to reflect the new definitions of personal communication devices and technology resources established in bylaw 0100 definitions. But it also addresses the safe and appropriate use by staff of personal communication devices, the confidentiality of students' personally identifiable information. So should you use a cell phone, you always have to ensure that you're not compromising student privacy. Privacy issues that can arise and potential disciplinary action. It's a standard policy, it's just being revised. The next two policies are about acceptable use. So 7540.03 is students' technology acceptable use and safety. It's a revised policy. And then 7540.04 is staff, and that includes all staff. So both policies are very, very similar to one another. The policies have been revised to reflect the updated definitions by bylaw 0100 for those definitions, to update and align content addressing artificial intelligence, and to reference notice requirements instituted by Senate Bill 29. The big part of this policy, I think, is the choice to use or select artificial intelligence as a tool for the positive for school use. It's not really going anywhere, so let's teach it responsibly. I think if we learned anything about social media, we didn't teach social media use responsibly as a society, and we've seen how that has maybe affected children who were on social media at very young ages. And that's not Matt Young talking, that's experts talking. We've had an expert in, paid a hefty sum to have her come in and analyze some of the data that she had seen but a couple of school years ago. But AI can be used for research assistance, data analysis, language translation, writing assistance, accessibility. All those things are applicable to those students and staff. So both of those policies are simply being updated for definitions as well as the integration of artificial intelligence. Policy 7540.09 is the article, or is the policy on artificial intelligence. It just says policy has been added to address the use of artificial intelligence by district staff and students. We anticipate that this policy will evolve as the tools evolve. Very, specifically, what does it say? It says the board recognizes the positive impact of artificial intelligence technology may have on the district's educational program. Superintendent is authorized to support the use of AI when its use is consistent with the district's mission, goals, and operational integrity. Any use of AI technology in the district's educational programs or operations must be in accordance with state and federal law as well as board policies, and violation may result in disciplinary consequences. So it's a very short policy, very to the point. 8310 is about public records. Changes here, it says the policy has been revised to note that educational support services data are not included as public record. Okay, so what is that, right? Well, Ohio Senate Bill 29 creates a new privacy protection for certain student data. Specifically, the law now classifies educational support services data as confidential and exempt from public records requests. Okay, so we're talking about if maybe you have a student with a disability and they require certain accommodations or certain supports, that now becomes confidential information. So this includes information we collect on students who participate in our equity-focused support programs that aim to improve educational outcomes. While this data is now protected from public disclosure, we are still required to share it with state agencies like the Opportunities for Ohioans with Disabilities to ensure students continue receiving the necessary supports and services. It says this change helps protect student privacy while maintaining essential coordination between schools and support agencies that serve our students. So the majority of the policy about public records didn't change from our old policy. But Senate Bill 29 had an implication here, and it is what data is permitted to be released. So we're protecting student data, and there are strict guidelines on who can receive that as a public record. All right, and that's the OOD, or the Opportunities for Ohioans with Disabilities. I had to do a little research on this beyond what Neola sent to us, because Mrs. Eder, I had the same question, what is the educational support services data? So I jumped in and did a little bit more research. Finally, we have a 9160, the public attendance at school events. This This policy has been revised to reflect changes adopted by legislation in House Bill 147, which impacted the cost of admission for school-affiliated events, including discounts for students enrolled at schools participating in the event. In simple terms, is this: remember, you have to now accept cash. You can't just go; it's electronic. You still have to accept cash, and you cannot have a discrepancy between cash and paying online. So you can't say, well, if you pay online, it only costs you $7, but if you pay in person, it costs you $10. If it's $7, it's $7. It all has to be the same.
What about the processing fees if you're paying online? Sometimes they have credit card fees
We do.
or processing fees. That doesn't
That's
make
the
them
system.
equal.
What's that?
That doesn't make them equal. Do they?
Doesn't
Does it?
deny the law. It's whatever your cost is what it has to be. So if you get processing fees, that's money you're going to lose.
It says basically that you can charge more for a credit card because of the processing fee, but you can't make up the difference in cash and say like, that's what it addresses.
The credit card fees.
Yeah, it says, except that the district may charge a processing fee for any ticket purchased online or by credit card.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, thank you for the clarification on that one. I know we had discussed
It
that.
doesn't sound like it's fair. It
Back-
doesn't sound like it's equal when they say that, you know?
Yeah, we had. I think we discussed the processing fee thing at one point, didn't we?
It's not substantial, I think we've taken that on to keep it equal for people both ways. It's definitely more convenient for us to do the online versions, because getting cash at events, one of my life as a athletic director, running through the bank, get signals all the time, and make a change, as well as just to make sure, just the math, and I think we crazy for the ticket takers, it's always a challenge as well. And having that much money, cash on site was always a concern as well. So a lot of people kind of made the switch to digital
Right.
versions still, but then it's good to have options if you really don't.
Yeah.
Yep. Understood.
Yeah. That's it for those. There's still more policies that need to be reviewed as a first reading at the next, at the December board meeting. So we're trying to get caught up before the next round comes out in the winter.
Okay. Thank you. Any questions on any of those policies? Reviewed. Okay, hearing none, moving on to section 19, committee reports and comments. Anyone? I would like to comment on the BEST committee meeting. I know Mr. Young talked about it, but I think it's very helpful this year that one of the members of the BEST committee happens to have an architectural background. And I think that's going to be very useful in terms of how we move forward, thinking about things that most of us wouldn't think about when we start talking about the possibility of making some changes. So that was very good to see. That's Colleen Netz, K-N-E-T-Z, has that background. So she was very helpful in the BEST committee meeting, with lots of interesting comments. And of course, we had Ted from Brooklyn that gave a presentation at the BEST committee meeting as well. It was nice to see him and see the way that they went through the things that they had to do. And basically, what their board did is they had come up with, and I'm not sure where the $73 million.
That was from the AVG came up with that.
Okay.
The architecture firm
The
that they
architects
used.
came up with, and the board said, no, we're not gonna do that, but we'll put a levy on for 20 million. And that's what they did, and of course, they passed a bond issue, it means they'll be paying for that for the next 38 years.
Yep.
But, it's always, we've been avoiding debt whenever we can. We've done it a couple of times. I think when we did the windows about 25 years ago, the state gave us, there's something that the state did that helps pay for those windows, but then we had to pay that off over time. So we paid that off fairly recently, if I remember correctly. I've been on the board since we paid that off. I was on the board when we paid it off. So I know we have had debt in the past, but we continue to try to avoid it. And that was part of our discussion at the BEST committee as well. So, but we may not be able to avoid it. So those are the sorts of things that the committee's going to be working on and talking about. Career Center, just briefly, the footers have settled and dried, and now they've started putting up the block. So the buildings are, outline of the buildings is beginning to take place. And that's about all I have. We didn't have a meeting since our last meeting here. Our next meeting is December 12th. Anybody else have anything?
I just wanted to say, as a follow-up to the Capitol Conference, it was a good conference, a lot of good topics were discussed, and appreciated being there. And I think of everything that I attended, probably the artificial intelligence one was the best. But the first session I attended, I think, needs to be revisited here. That was the Vouchers Hertz, Ohio, and the Ed Choice voucher lawsuit that's underway. And, you know, it's like 3 years in litigation here. They really don't know when it's going to go to court, if it ever does go to court. You know, they explained why, all the briefs and the responses that they have to these to the process. But what came out of it was that, you know, how out of the 600 and some school districts in Ohio, only about a third are actually in this lawsuit. And they really are looking to see if they can get more people to join, which we have. And then the other thing that I thought was beneficial, or could be beneficial for us so that we do stay on top of what's going on, they offered that there's a steering committee of this group, Vouchers Hertz Ohio, and they can do presentations and updates if we want to. So I thought it would be helpful at maybe a board meeting in the coming new year, maybe February, March, if we would bring them on to actually give us an update of how the lawsuit is going, and if maybe by then there will be an update about, you know, really where it's going, and if it is going to go to court, or if this judge is going to say, hey, you're right, vouchers are unconstitutional, and let's dissolve the system immediately. So we'll see. But I would welcome them to come to a board meeting and give us an update. That's all I wanted to say.
We can reach out to them.
Any others?
And with that too, we can also invite local mayor's council to come. Because they did say winning in the court of, what they call
Public
it,
opinion.
It's just
You need to win in
important.
the court of public opinion just as much as winning in court. And that was kind of a testament to the fact that maybe there should be more school districts that are actually
Yeah.
aligned and you know, financially contributing to this lawsuit, you know,
But also getting your,
message out.
right, and then them putting the pressure on.
Right, because they are, as we know, not only are they paying for the tuition, but now they're paying for, or talking about paying for physical improvements to the buildings as
Yeah,
well.
actually
Exactly.
building buildings for voucher students to go to.
Which would certainly seem to violate the separation of church and state concept, since most of those schools are religious schools. And I'm a religious school product, so I'm not, it's not that I have something against religious schools, just think it's, personally feel it's inappropriate for the state to support them. So, because that money should be going to public schools. $1 billion could be divided very nicely among 600 districts. Anything else? Okay, next on the agenda is the review of the board meeting calendar. So in Section 20A, we have two copies of potential board meeting calendar. Mr. Young, would you like to go through the difference
Yeah,
briefly?
the difference is subtle. You don't even see it unless you dive deep.
I
It's
did.
really the month of October. The month of October has 5 Wednesdays. And do we want to stick to the 2nd and the 4th? So the 8th and the 22nd for your board meetings, which means that you would have 3 weeks between the 17th of September and the 8th of October? Or do you want to have the meeting on the 1st and the 15th, and then your 2-week gap is at the end of October. You know, for us, it's not really a big deal either way. We would say you really need an extra board meeting in the summertime because that's when you're hiring the most people, is in the summertime, and
Right.
you're going a month in between, but I also recognize summer vacations are tough. And we deal with it. So I didn't know if you had a preference as to whether we go those, plus all the other considerations. You know, again, Mr. Suchaki, I know you're on a board at the Career Center. Is there anything that overlaps in this with your particular schedule?
Fortunately,
Or-
our meetings are on Thursday, so that works out very well.
So you're Thursday, so that's not a big deal. Or if you know ahead of time that there's something that's going to be a conflict, you know, we could look to make an adjustment.
I was just gonna say, on the left hand, there's second and fourth, but all on the right hand, it's first and third.
Isn't that interesting, the way that worked out? Because we say we're second and fourth, but then you look at that, and it didn't work that way.
Or I
once we
guess
hit-
starting in May, it goes first and third.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you have the anytime you have 3 Wednesdays in a month, it has the ability to throw off your schedule. So if you want to stick to the second and if you want to stick to the second and the fourth, we can certainly do that consistently, regardless of how many weeks are in between.
Yeah,
But
but
just knowing that when you do run into, when you run into November, for example, if you do the 26th, you're doing the night before Thanksgiving.
Right. Is that why?
If you do, yeah, so sometimes it doesn't work out perfectly because you've got those holidays that interject. So,
it is kind of interesting the way it works out, though. The first half of the year, it is, well, actually, in January, it's third and fourth, but then it tends to be second and fourth, second and fourth, second and fourth. Then once it switches to first and third, if you skip June and July because those are irregular months, it stays first and third for the rest of the year.
I guess I'm
October is the
fine.
only exception.
I'm fine either way. I think I always thought it was the first and third. So that's why I was like, wait, is it the second? And then I caught my eye, but.
I know that in the past, that October meeting, whenever, almost undoubtedly, whenever day we have our board meeting, it usually conflicts with the regional, OSBA meeting, like the one that we went to when Tom was recognized. So I know that's been something that we've looked at, but we don't always go to that meeting.
Right.
So I guess, we just have to wait and see. And then I do believe I have a conflict for January 15th. I may actually be going on vacation, so. Wow, yeah, I know. So I do believe it's that week.
yeah, we may have to do that
I
one on
have
the
a
8th.
And
I have a
And-
conflict on January 29th.
Yeah, so let's do we can
move those up to the
So,
8th and
8 and
22nd.
22.
we could look at the 8th and the 22nd. And then we could, because that's the second and the third, so that's second, third, second, third, second, third. And then, if you want, in May, we could do the 14th and the 28th if you want. That way we stick to the second and the third. Do you have an issue with that?
I mean, I think you probably should leave it the way it is,
7 and
because
21,
it's every other week. Yeah,
Yeah, once you get to May, let's see, when do we have Memorial Day is the 26th probably, right? When is graduation?
that's on that other.
Graduation would be
That's on the 31st.
Is it back to the 31st?
Well, no,
Well, no,
well,
actually, the dates are off as well, I think. Like I'm not sure which one's right. I'm assuming this one is right, but I feel like.
31st, yeah,
they say May 31st here.
Sunday.
Oh, wait, I think I'm also confused.
Yeah, why is
because
this wrong?
it's-
So remember, this is going into
25.
2026.
That's
This is
26
going to
already.
26.
So, yeah, you
Okay.
need to look at May of this year's current calendar.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know.
Circling back,
So when so,
Broke my brain.
yeah, it's because this is the calendar year
Yeah.
25, not the school year 25, 26.
It would make sense for the boards to meet on the school year schedule, but we don't. We meet on the calendar year schedule.
also circling back, Ohio Revised Code requires city, local, exempted village, and JVS's boards to organize within the first 15 days of January.
So
our
we're moving it
first-
to the eighth,
Yeah,
yeah.
we need to move to.
So we should probably move
Yeah,
that.
so graduate, commencement this
Oh, it's
year
the
would be
first.
June 1st.
Okay.
So,
That means I can go on vacation?
Around Memorial Day?
No, in January.
Oh, then I get
Oh, yeah.
June 11th. Sorry, we're going. Karen and I are going to Europe.
yeah, but June 11th, school's out.
We
So,
get
Mr.
back.
Suchaki, going back to your dual
We land
service
we land
at here
from
in the
Paris
Career Center,
At 4:45.
this January 15th,
Guess I'll make it.
No, you
are we
won't.
moving that to the 8th
Well,
then?
we
We
need
we
And-
really
And
should.
how about the Career Center, what are they gonna get and organize?
I believe it's the 9th.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we can
That would be
always
the
make
following
adjustments.
week.
Yeah.
Cause otherwise, we'd be
try
in a
not
position
to.
of
You can cancel
acting
and do a
after the
special.
Career
You have to
Center.
cancel and do a special, so really, we're trying to set the
Oh, we
we're
need
trying to get as,
This year's
yeah.
This is
the
our
third
general
year, so
baseline.
it's not
And then
changing
we
this
can
year.
Oh,
the
okay,
baseline
all right,
would be a
because I know in the past that you've raised it as a.
Yeah.
And we're not voting on it
Next year.
tonight, it's just getting feedback so that when we bring it back in December, then you have that to vote on.
Yeah, but
So right now, the plan is then to move that January meeting from the 15th to the 8th, is
The
that it?
8th, and then we would move the 29th to the 22nd.
Right.
Okay. And was there any other changes? I think someone mentioned that graduation like would be the 1st of June.
It's the 1st of June on this calendar, so there's,
Right.
do you like the 7th and the 21st? The only thing I'd have to look, is we have that regional track meet here, that's on a Wednesday, and it's an early release day, and parking would be rough, I mean, you'd have
That's okay.
I can
1,000
believe
people
it.
on campus, but
Five of us.
it's just 5 people, so,
Yeah, it doesn't make much of a difference to me, we can go either way.
yeah. But I think it's probably, if I had to guess, it's the 21st is probably the day of that regional track meet.
Yeah, then maybe you just make that second and fourth.
Move it to the 14th and the 28th.
Yeah.
Is that
We've
okay?
got the awards, senior awards that week before commencement too.
It's usually a Monday night, isn't it?
Mhm.
Monday or Tuesday.
Oh, that'll be on Memorial Day.
We can schedule, yeah, we'll schedule it we'll make sure.
Is that gonna be Memorial Day?
Yeah, the 26th will be Memorial Day.
So they're not gonna have it that day.
And they're graduating here,
Yes,
Yep.
on the first.
so we probably don't wanna move this here.
We can say the 7th and the 21st, it's fine.
Yeah, we'll save it for right now, and we can always revisit it.
It's fine.
May's a busy
Just
month, no
parking,
matter-
parking just may be tough that night, so,
May's a busy month no matter what, so you'd go and change it, it'll probably,
yeah,
something else would be in the,
District track
In the
meet
mix.
is the 21st.
okay,
And senior awards is May 27th.
that's a Tuesday.
okay.
It's already in the calendar.
So the 14th and the 28th would be ideal if we did that.
Okay,
That would be ideal, because we avoid a lot of the traffic here, so I'll mark that maybe.
yeah,
I'm
that's
sorry, what
fine.
did you just say?
May 14th and then May 28th. So we know we've avoided senior awards, and we know we've avoided the regional track meet.
Good.
And then, when you get into August, if you wanted to continue to set the precedence of the 2nd and the 3rd, we could do that and just keep that consistent until you get to November. And then in November, we would have to go to the 1st and the 3rd because you run into the Thanksgiving holiday the night before.
I don't think we need to change that.
I do also feel like we had 2 meetings in June before. I feel like July and December were the only months we only had one.
We had to have a special meeting in June, I believe,
Oh, we
Be-
did?
because of or was it early July to pass the Chase contract? It was July, we had 2 in July this year.
So we only have
In the
the one
hangar.
planned. That's what I
Mhm.
mean, you only have one set up in June, but I feel like we always have 2 in June. So if you're worried, like, July is a long month and then we're not going till the 13th, like, do you need to add a second meeting in June?
Sometimes we do, just because that's the end of our fiscal year.
And hiring, like, it really is helpful to have 2 meetings in June. I recognize people you may have to, again, because of vacations, but it is helpful to have 2 meetings in June because of hiring. And you're closing out the fiscal year on June 30th.
Mhm.
And there's some last minute things that are,
I mean, we can go either way, we can try for one, or put a second one on the schedule right now, either way.
I just think there's a lot of, there's like a whole month between the two, from June to July. There's probably gonna be another meeting needed. It's just because, just like what you just said, you know, hiring and
Yeah,
your
let's do the
ending your
25th.
fiscal year and hiring.
So I'll circle the 25th of June.
Yeah, I
But you
think we
can't
had.
do that, can you?
I can.
Oh, yeah.
You can?
We have,
Yeah.
That works.
Okay.
and I think we had two
I
in
think
July.
it's
last
July is the only time where we scheduled one.
Yeah, July, that makes sense.
July.
In fact, in Career Center, we don't even do one in July, we just skip the whole month.
So would those both be regular meetings, or is there a work and a regular meeting we're thinking about for the June meetings? Would the 11th be a work session?
Yeah, I don't
Yeah,
know that
that-
it matters.
I don't think it matters, but in terms of starting and.
Start
I
time,
think,
yeah,
I think when we did the summertime, didn't we just change them all to 6 o'clock?
we probably
Yeah.
did,
Yeah, instead of making them later, because we usually make them later because of when we have something like this.
One day.
Oh, yeah, we did, that's right. Yeah.
Of course, then there was one at 7 AM,
Special
too.
meeting.
So June and July, we'll push all those to 6 o'clock in June and July. There's no students in the month.
Right.
And then do you have a preference? You know, do we stick to the first and the third then starting August?
Sure.
And then it's consistent? It's the
That's
first,
fine.
it could be the first and the third, except for you get to December, there's only one meeting.
Right.
That's fine.
Okay. So I'll build off of this one right here.
That was a good discussion.
Okay, so we'll have an update to vote on next month. Letter B is review board member responsibilities, and there's a document attached to that. So the first thing on the list is the Career Center, and I have one more year on the 3-year term, so that doesn't change. And then we have the board liaisons. There are no board committees anymore, but we do have some liaisons. Maria, you've been doing Chamber of Commerce.
I would love to go some of those meetings, but I haven't, but okay.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if you want to continue doing that or not. There was a meeting today. State of the Villages or State of the Cities was today.
See, I wish I would have known that. I would have loved to have gone to that.
Mr. Young was there. I was there as part of the Career Center.
Mm.
And then, of course, they also have the State of the Schools in May.
Yeah, you've got a month to consider this, because gets voted on in January, I
Right.
believe, right? So
We
the,
don't really have to go through it right now.
no, these are the current people in those roles, and it's just a determination of who will be those liaisons
That's true, we vote on that in January.
in January. And what we did here is we removed liaisons to like the Finance Committee, the BEST Committee, and the Technology Committee. And the reason we got recommendations on that is as soon as board members show up to those meetings and then they start having discussion, even if there's not 3 people there, it just starts to get really tricky because it becomes a quasi-board meeting at that point. Especially if you get 3 people show up to the meeting, you've really pushed the envelope, right? So it's just been recommended that while you can have a liaison, don't vote on who the liaison is, because as soon as you vote on something, like that board member is showing up, the interpretation is, or some interpretation is it becomes a quasi-board committee at that point, and therefore you better have proper
Minutes.
posting, you better have an agenda, you better have minutes. All those things have to guarantee take place, and
Right.
Mr. Muccio sent me a text today that showed me the settlement that Stowe, Monroe Falls had with the one individual who's got people for violating the Open Meetings Act, tune of $6,605.15 or something like that, so.
So,
So that
Mr.
doesn't
Young,
apply to some of these, like the tax abatement review and communications forum, like you would be exempt from what you just said for these?
Right, because
categories?
we don't have a role in these.
I see, okay.
I mean, the only one is like maybe the communications forum, but that is because the negotiated agreement
Yeah.
calls for something like that, so that sets that precedent. It's not my meeting, it's the Teachers Association meeting, for example.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So the health costs containment, whatever it is, that group is necessitated or driven, is a creature of the contracts, and so therefore it's, we are in a better stead in terms of asking people to serve as liaisons?
Although
Is that right? Am I getting that right?
Yep.
Okay.
Does that need to be added to this?
We can.
It used to be on here.
Yeah, it used to be on here.
Okay, so we need to add that to it.
The health.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe I missed a seat.
The HCCC, yeah.
You guys used to do that.
And Mr. Young, then, I take it
Everything
that this,
we figured out.
that this summary of liaisonships, I had to look it up, that is actually a word. That liaisonships is a reflection of the current thinking on how to, kind of a best practice for board administration.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
So we don't need to, as a board, we don't need to vote on these matters either now or in January, sure, is, I think.
You will, I believe they will in January, won't they?
Okay. So, well, okay.
Because we have in the past.
I'm a little confused, because I
Yeah,
thought we.
maybe we shouldn't be anymore.
That's what I'm saying, is, I thought we were saying we shouldn't have.
Those were the ones
designated
that were
individuals.
like the superintendent's committees and
Oh,
the
okay.
treasurers, specifically his committee or my committee, not
Okay.
to vote on those,
Okay,
Which are not on here anymore.
which are not on here anymore.
Okay,
We've only
that's-
left the ones on here that,
okay.
and I will follow up with legal counsel on that too, just to.
So if these
see if we're
matters
okay.
appear on the organizational agenda, I can assume then that these are proper items that the
Yep.
board should and needs to act on. And if they don't appear, then that means that what we just said is,
Yeah, I'll get
Sure,
clarification
okay,
on that
thank you.
before the December meeting.
thank you.
Okay, anything else on that item? All right, section 21, anyone have any future agenda items they'd like to bring up? Okay, hearing none, moving on to 22, it should be noted that board members received their agendas several days prior to the meeting, thus they have had a considerable opportunity to study and ask questions and so on. Upcoming regular meetings, December 11th is the next meeting. It's a work session at 6 o'clock. And then on January, we've just changed it from the 15th to the 8th, will be our organizational meeting for 2025 at 7 PM. Unless there's any other business to come before this
Did we
board?
want to move that to a 6 PM start, or is that everybody okay with the 7 PM start for the organization meeting? I think it started at 6 in the recent past, but that's just my memory.
Yeah, there are no students of the month, so.
It should be 6, right?
Yeah, but yeah, it's the first meeting of the month, so we typically do
January
those at 6,
8th
right?
Yeah.
Should be at 6 o'clock.
So I would just
I'd rather do
put that out
7
there
if
as to
that's
whether that
okay.
works for the group.
You still need to do 7?
Okay. That's fine.
Good for me.
Yeah, we just have to make sure that we remind ourselves.
So
which is
7
which
o'clock
time.
then? Okay.
7 o'clock on
We'll
June.
stay
Give me
7
time
o'clock.
to stop at my sister's house and wish her happy birthday.
Basketball game downstairs.
Okay, nothing else? I'll accept a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Dobbins,
Second?
second by Ms. Etter.
Thanks.
Treasurer, please call the roll.
Aye.
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 Aye, motion passes 5-0. It's 8:49 PM, and we are adjourned.
Keep looking at that clock, and it's not
I
helping
want
me.
to let everybody know something, just so you're aware. So on our website, all your email addresses are listed there. But there will be an addition